Hi there. I wanted to make a video today covering a topic I get asked about a lot, which is generally people ask me about doing real world things. And one of the things is like, can we use designs from designers in a real workflow where you have a Figma and you want to get to a pixel perfect design? And up until recently, it's a challenge I haven't really been able to figure out. And so I figured it out last weekend. I wanted to share with a video. So let me go ahead and get us into the actual code. This is going to be part of my documentation-driven development series. For those of you who've been following, the basic concept is that we lead everything with context management. It's the core skill. What that means is that you need to be able to tell the AI agent you're working with, whichever one it is, it doesn't really matter at this point, in my opinion, um, what to build and how to build it. And you need to be able to do that quickly because the agent, the more questions you ask it, the more mistakes it will make, the more hallucinations it has. And so being able to shut down an agent and bring a new one in, start a new chat. I like to think about firing and hiring or sending them home and bringing them back fresh, however you want to think about it. Um, it's going to keep your accuracy as high as possible and get you done quicker. So that's why I feel it's a core skill. And what we're going to look at today is taking this Figma design here and bringing it to pixel perfect implementation. So if you look at the design, our design partner is Brand Cave. This is the Cody Miles is the owner of the company, and shout out to them. They do a great job. And so this is how our projects will start. We'll have a design effort as part of our blueprint agile process that we do with Cody's team, and that will give us what the site's going to look like, or app, or whatever we're building. You can see that this book a call CTA sticks to the top there. We have a nice looking menu bar. So I've been vibing on this, using this approach I'm going to demonstrate today. And I've gotten it to the point where um, it looks pretty good, right? But you'll probably notice the CTA isn't sticking and the menu bar is wrong. It took me a minute to get to the point where this card here was over the hero section, and just getting everything to look as good as it does now. I mean, there's still some issues. It took a bit of effort for me to figure that out, but the technique I've got, I think, gets you there, and I'm going to demonstrate it now. And so what I want to do first is we're going to do the menu, because that's going to be a lot easier than the doing the sticky of the call to action, the book call. And then we'll do the book call, which I feel like I am not very good at HTML and CSS. And so to me, that seems like something that's really hard to do well. And so I feel like it's a really great validation of the approach I'm going to show you. So with all that said, let's go ahead and jump in. So the way I got to this starting point here that you're seeing is I used a tool called builder.io. Just some background. Builder has a plugin for Figma. And if you use Builder, you can basically go into Figma, select things, and then export. So what I did is I went into Figma and I deleted out most of the content because it can only do so big of a design at one time. So if you look, there's a lot of content on here, or different types of areas where you can have content. I pulled most of that out. I created a copy of the Figma asset somewheres. It might not be in this one. And I just pulled out those parts. So that's not the main point of the video. Once you get that in there, you can go and do plugins. You're not gonna be able to see the menu because I have my screen pretty small. But you just pick the plugin for Builder, and it'll export out. And that's how I got to this. Now, if you look at this, the picture's not right. But it's 80-90% of the way there. And then I'm going to use the technique I showed you to kind of vibe my way through the rest of it and just get the agent to kind of iterate with me. So that's how you get your starting point. I copied all this code here. I just downloaded it. It's I've covered this in another video where, as part of documentation-driven development, when you're doing UI work, what I do is I always have a docs folder. So over here, you're going to have your docs folder. And then within there, I've called it prototypes this time. I've called it mockups before. I just dumped the whole export from whatever the tool I'm using to generate the UI is. And then I'll just create a plan for doing the implementation, and then kind of iterate through it. And I've covered those core concepts in some of my other videos. So for this part here, we've got most of it done. We're just kind of doing the last mile type stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, and what you do is you triple click on the image, as far as I can tell, to select one little piece. If you just click, it's going to select the whole thing. And for those of you who are good at Figma, you're probably laughing right now. I just fumble around in this stuff, but for those of you who are developers and you want to know, this is what I figured out. You triple click, that'll give you a specific area on a drawing. Once you get that specific area, you can right click and take the context menu, and you can say copy as. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy an image of what it looks like. I'll take that over to my agent. I'm using cursor here. In the beginning of the video, I mentioned that I don't think the agent should matter, not if you're doing this well. I change pretty often because they all change so often, and you might be at a job where you have to use a specific one. As long as you have a good agent like Claude, Windsurf, like Claude Code I was using recently, Windsurf, Cursor, you're going to be fine. So actually, for this particular technique, let me step back just a second. You want an agent where you can share images. Claude Code doesn't let you share images. So you would be better off with Cursor or Windsurf or something like that for this particular technique. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a fresh context here. And I'm just going to let the agent know we have created a best practices part of the documentation-driven development process. You document, you start generating code, you make sure it works, and then you refactor the code for quality. And once you do that, then you say, hey, is there any good patterns that we got out of there? Let's add those to a best practice document. So, and you just keep building up this documentation repository, which allows you to manage your context really well and establish what to build and how to build it. So I'm going to paste that image in there, which is going to be a what to build asset. And then I'm also going to tell it about our UX best practice, which is how to build. So I'm just going to say following our UX best practices. And UX best practices, I didn't write this. I just told it, like, when we get done with stuff and I look at it and it looks good, I say, okay, update the best practices with any new best practices. And that's going to allow your agent, these are the processes. This is how we build stuff. This is what we're building. And you're constantly having to onboard new employees is a way to think about it. So just make sure you have good documentation. So following our best practices and looking at our design for the menu bar that I attached, let's update our menu to match it. Below is the CSS from Figma. So this is one of the tricks that's been really helpful. That first trick is you copy the image. Now we're going to come in and copy all layers as CSS, and then we'll share that in there. So we're giving it some hints on how to do this. And then I like to say, ask any questions you have before we start. I always like to get it to ask some questions. I should have told it. In fact, I will tell it. Make sure to use Shad, CN, and Tailwind. It'll start doing things custom, but that should be covered in the UX best practices. But it's good to be over specific within reason. So I'll pause while this is going on. So it asked a few questions, and then it said, let me proceed with a reasonable implementation. Let me see, logo implementation. The Figma CSS shows a complex SVC. Do we have the actual logo? So for one, yes, we are using it in the footer. Two, Font family, the design specifies. Should I make sure the font is loaded, or would you prefer I use the system font fallback? Stay consistent with the existing UI components. I don't know what the answer is what that means. I like to just see if they can get it working, and then I can come back in and fine tune it. Fixed width versus responsive. The design shows fixed width. Should I keep this fixed or make it responsive to maintain proportions? Let's say responsive. Button functionality. What should the contact Cody and book call buttons do when clicked? Don't worry about it. Okay. Okay, it's coming back with some content. When it's saying generating, I find if you accept with cursor, you might end up stopping it while it's still going. Okay, so explaining its changes. I want to see the changes before I spend too much time reading all that. So let's go ahead and take a look. Hi. That is a pretty good improvement, I'd say. Let's see. Let me get the actual design over here. So we need make sure the color looks right, the logo's wrong, and then I think there's a line at the bottom. Yeah. So it looks like the color's wrong and the logo is wrong. I'm just going to copy this as HTML. Issues. Color is wrong. Bottom border is too heavy and dark. Please review image and CSS. Logo is wrong. Here's the HTML from browser. Please find this component in the footer and reuse it. Okay. Okay, so it says it found the footer component and it's working on these 3 fixes. All right, we got some code, but it's still generating. Let's see. Looks like it's trying to do the logo again. I got to get that off the builder CDN and into our own code base here. See what I was saying about generating earlier? It's still going, so if you start accepting stuff too soon. So it looks like it's done now. So I'm going to accept and see what it looks like. All right. So now we have, whoa, it was looking good. I just in case you missed that, I copied the error. This is NextJS, and you get this nice little error thing. I'll just let it know it broke something. Okay, it looks like it may have, it thinks it's figured something out. Okay, thinks it's fixed the issue. Let's see. Looks like it did. Okay, and the logo looks good. I think the top part looks good, but you know, this video was about pixel perfect design, and it does not match the design. So it's a slightly different gray than the rest of the page. It looks like the background on the page. Okay. So I'm going to copy this again. I copied the properties this time. Let's see if that does. I haven't tried that before. I probably should have. I'm going to go. One of the things that's really important is your Git flow. So right now we have something that is pretty good. So to me, if it's pretty good, I'm going to stage it. so that we can, if we get it completely off track, we can get back to this point fairly easily. And then if we get something that's really good, we commit it. And that just allows you, when the agent starts rabbit holing, you can just kind of eject and go back to your last working state. You don't lose as much work. So let's say issues, the colors are wrong. That bottom border might be right. So I'm just going to say the background color is wrong. Here's the Figma properties. That didn't copy anything. That would have been cool. Let's see. Someone who knows Figma, maybe you have some tips on how to get this stuff a little easier. Oh, fixed width justified. I don't see any colors. Let's just copy the CSS again. See if there's any colors in it. There's a color right there. Please use the correct colors. It should be a gray. And then we can add the image again too. Let's do that just to be safe. So I'll go ahead and copy image. Okay, it thinks it's figured it out. That's probably not the best way to do this, but let's just see if it looks right. It looks pretty good. Theirs is a little bit more subtle. So I think the main issue is that the bottom border is too strong. I actually prefer the way it looks. But let's try and get it to the right. Okay. I think this is progress, so I'm going to say let's stage it. So we add all of our files to staging, and if we do a get status now, we'll see they're all green. And then now let's go ahead and tell it so it's definitely too pronounced is what I'm saying. And then what we can do is come over here and what is it? Option Shift 4. No. All right, Command Control Shift 4. There we go. So I'm just going to copy it. I've attached the actual board. I've attached the running code, and I've attached the design. So let's grab that design again. Maybe we should do the whole thing. So they can see the border. Please also review CSS I shared above. Okay, it thinks it fixed the border. Let's take a look. And I think it did. I think it's close enough. We could keep iterating on it if we wanted it. You get the idea. So I'm going to call this good. So I'm going to stage it. And then I like to ask it to do a commit. This looks good enough. Commit the code. I like the commit comments it does better than the ones I do. Okay, so it gave us a pretty nice detailed comment. Did it run it? Usually it just runs the command. Okay, so now our code is committed. We're on a detached head. It doesn't really matter. I've got this code. I've already done this working. I'm probably going to throw this away when I get done. But let's move on to the more interesting part now, where we're going to attempt to do get this to sticky at the top. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and create a new agent. So we have a nice fresh head that isn't going to be hallucinating a lot in the robot we're using. And then I'm going to tell it using, let's implement the freezing of the book a call CTA shown in the attached image. Note that it's the bottom half of the about us that will sticky to the top of the window. Note that it should stay in view always and not scroll out. When I've done this is the third time I've done it, sometimes it scrolls out. That's kind of the harder part of doing this, or at least it seems to be so far. So let me go ahead and get an image of it. So we'll play this. We'll show what it looks like. So then I'm going to go ahead also and then grab some CSS so it can try and cheat a little. So I'm going to see if I can just copy this whole, let me copy that. And then I'll also copy all layers of CSS. Hopefully it won't be too much context. I've shared the CSS below. Ask any questions. Okay, let's start in a sticky CTA section. Okay. Still thinking? Okay, it's still thinking. It's pretty beefy change, so oh, it's feeling pretty confident. It's telling me to test it. So let's go ahead and just accept all the changes. And then we'll come over to here. And nothing. Okay. Maybe I need to kill and restart. I don't think so, but let's just try it real quick. Nope. That's not freezing at all. Okay, I did a lot of thinking and it's got some changes for us. Let's go ahead and accept them. Looks like we've got an error. Okay, let's see. Okay, I gave it a couple of spins so you wouldn't have to sit here and watch. It's taking it a little longer this time than last time, but I think it's going to get it. We're making some progress. Okay, let's take a look. All right, we're getting closer. So that's the right behavior, but we have two book a call components now. So I've told it that it's the correct behavior, but there's two book a call components and there's still debugging CSS on the screen. Okay, let's see what it's got. Hey, look at that. So that's pretty close. There's some styling issues in all this, but let me just go ahead and do this real quick. Okay, so what I did, I just pulled out the branch that was working. I think we're probably like maybe 5 to 10 prompts from getting it where it needs to be. I just wanted to show y'all what the finished result is of, it's the same process, but if you look at this, this is the branch that I have it on. It sticks perfectly. I think the whole thing looks great. I haven't extensively reviewed the code, but I'm pretty happy with the outcome. And this is just a nut I couldn't crack before. And so here is the original design again. You can see how it looks and how it behaves. And I think it's mission accomplished. Anyway, I hope this technique is helpful for y'all. And if you have any ideas of how to improve it or, things that you've done that work well, let me know. I'll see you on the next video.